Hello and welcome to a new series here on the channel on Farming Simulator 25. In this series, as you might be able to already tell, we are going to be playing on the West Bridge Hills. And we'll be moving over to farming in Indiana once that map is released. But we will be keeping our equipment intact when that day comes. It's been a while since I've made any farming simulator content on the channel. Back when I was on PlayStation 4 or 5. But in this series we will now be playing on PC, as I've had my PC for about a month now. And in this series we'll be basing it on what we had on our real life farm as close as possible. So we have our 8650 and John Deere 630 disc. In real life we had an 8630. We also have a 4755 and Glencoe Soil Saver as well, and a 1066 International. We also have a Freightliner semi. In real life we had a single axle Freightliner semi with a single axle jet hopper bottom. But in the series we have the twin axle Freightliner semi and one half of the Load Keen Super B setup. We have the semi portion of that setup, of course. We also have the John Deere 8820 combine, and we had a 7720 in real life. And as for our heads, we are going with a more modern setup, as I do not remember what we had. But we have the John Deere 608 corn head. And I'll tell you what we had as a grain head here in just a minute. We have the RDF 30 for our grain head. We also have a Demco liquid fertilizer applicator, which we did not have on our farm, but it is something that I wanted to have on this farm to fill a gap. I really wanted to run the NH3 setup, but the version that I found did not work, so we're going to go with the Demco liquid fertilizer applicator, at least for now. I think there is a working version of the NH3 system out there. I just need to take the time to find it. But I did want to get this series started. As for what we have for ground to start this series, we have this home land here on the home farm, field 37. Then we also have field 22. We will be buying field 21 once that is harvested. We'll get into that more later. We also have field 43. And I think that's it for now. But as for field 21, when I was going around looking at ground to buy, that field still had corn in it. So I'm not going to buy it yet. The only time I will buy land is once that current crop has been harvested by the current farmer. I'm not going to be saying, oh, this field's about ready to harvest, I think I'll just buy it right now. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it a little bit more realistic in that fashion. We also have a international single axle grain truck. In real life, we had a Ford, same color, same box and everything, and we called it the Red Goose, and we just kind of called it the Red Goose because it was kind of a pain in the butt to us. And there was a family friend that helped my dad get into farming, and he had another single axle truck. I think it may have been an international. It was a green truck, and we called it the Green Goose, because those old green trucks, just the sound of the old motors and everything, and how finicky they could be to us, we just called them the Goose. Don't really know why, but we just called them the Goose, and that's my reasoning as to why we called them the Goose. Being a little kid, that's the only thing I can think of, because I did not like going hauling grain in the grain trucks, because you just never felt like you were going to get home unless you were in the semi, which I loved as a kid, going to the elevator in the semi and grabbing the ticket that we got from selling each and every load. Good times. But we no longer farm. There's a lot to that story, which I'm not going to get into, at least right now. Nothing overly bad. It just, I'll say this. At a certain point, my dad asked me if I wanted to farm, and at that time I was not really feeling it, because I was young and I wanted to do other things. And also, being allergic to soybeans is probably not the greatest thing when your two main crops were soybeans and corn on your farm. So, not really the best options when Grandpa comes home, comes to see you as soon as they get done harvesting soybeans when you're a little kid, and you just turn blue and have to be rushed to the hospital. Not fun times there. But later on, when I came home from college, due to I don't want to say a not fun experience, but when all your roommates are not your type, you kind of say, is it worth being here? Especially with some of the things I saw, and I decided I'd come home to farm with my dad and his friend at that time. And again, life changed after that, which we will get into at a later date as we go along with this series. But in this series, I would like to get into some animals, probably cattle, but I don't want to do that until we get onto the farming in Indiana map. We're going to get a quick picture here for a screenshot and a thumbnail. Take a few. Yeah, I know we got that going on here, but I know we got the GPS lines there, but we'll get one here in just a few minutes without. But if there's anything else that you would want to talk about in this series about my experience growing up as a kid farming, just let me know and I'll answer what I can. I'm not sure how this series will go per se with my Major League Points series on the channel as well. That is kind of my main series on the channel, is the Major League Points series. Getting a few more screenshots here. See what I want for a thumbnail. In of which, in the Major League Points series, up next, round number 4 of the series, and the start of our southern swing, coming to you live from Tampa Bay, as we just got off the western swing out in Reno and Oklahoma City. I'll link those videos down in the description. As you can see here, we also got a nice, took out the barn that was sitting here and made a nice wide gravel path for semis and other equipment, so we can get in and out nice and easily. But along the lines of the Major League Points series, the Pro Stock 4-wheel drive trucks will be making their season and the series debut from Tampa Bay. This is the second year of the Major League Points series on the channel. And we will also have the Superstock diesel trucks and mini rod tractors from Tampa Bay and Atlanta, the second half of our southern swing. But as for the farm series here, I'm not sure on the schedule or anything. I don't really have one set out right now, just with how my life is and how I like to and how I want to do this farm series. I'm not sure how that will work overall yet. But as you can see, here is our John Deere 4755 with our Glencoe soil saver. And for the life of me, I'm blanking on the name. What that tool is, I know. Chisel plow. There we go, chisel plow. But in here we have our International grain truck, our Freightliner. We also have our Kinsey planter in here, and our International 1066. And if we come over to this building, we have our Demco liquid fertilizer applicator. The barn setup was just random, I guess you could say. I did kind of base this on what our buddy had, but it's not really set up as to what we had on our farm. And then over here we have the pickup. I really wanted that kind of gold flake color instead of black, but I could not get the color the way I wanted it to. I wanted to have it. And then here, this bin setup is based again on more of our buddy's setup than our own, because I did not want to deal with the Westfield unload auger, truck unload auger. But we do have our Westfield grain bin unload auger set up. And we have the dryer system here for dried grains. And over here, as you've seen coming in from tillage, we have our propane tanks to fill up the dryer with. As I said, I'm not really 100% sure what I want this series to be yet. I'm not sure what it will turn into, but I hope to just have fun with this series and it turn into something concrete with a foundation, especially as we get onto the Indiana map. But we will just have to see as that time comes. And we'll probably talk a lot about the Major League Point series in this series, as I said that is my main series on the channel right now, and probably will be. But I think that's all I have for you today, so thank you for tuning in and watching, and I hope that you tune in for the next one as the series goes along. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in for the next one.